And we will continue here on Celtics Postgame Live, but we're also going to talk about Jaylen Brown because he has now another triple-double here tonight. You see it there, 19 points, 12 boards, 11 dimes. He was 12 of 16 at the line, plus 16. And that little nugget at the end surpassed his 12,000 career points here in this game. Let's get to the turning point. It is presented by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Turn it around, take control. It's possible with the solution for weight loss. Reserve your consult at awaken180weightloss.com. This is Payton Pritchard, one of his 6 trays. This one to make it 102.90. He's fired up, and rightfully so. 42 points from Payton Pritchard. And the irony is, Eddie and Chris, when we even just talked to Scal, he said, look, Eddie said help wanted. And Scal said, I wanted him to step up. And I didn't know he was going to do it in this kind of way. Eddie, when you look at Pritchard and just this ceiling, what do you make of his ceiling and what he's able to do? Because I didn't really have him going for 42 here tonight. And maybe shame on myself for not stretching my mind.
Hey, well, who had him going for 42 when he only did it one time in his career? Nobody ever was thinking about oh, yeah, he's about to go for 40 tonight. But that's what the team needed, right? And so help wanted. Step up, and that's what Payton Pritchard did. Yeah, especially if you listen to his post-game interview where he said, I didn't play well last night. So he had to eat that. And then they were sitting on the plane. Obviously, they said they had problems getting up out of Minnesota. So he's sitting on the plane. He's thinking about that. He don't have it's not just going quick to Cleveland and going to sleep and I'm thinking about the next day. It's not that at all. So he had time to marinate on it.
So imagine if he didn't have foul trouble. He gets 2 fouls in the first couple minutes there, had to go to the bench. You could tell he was kind of had a little something going early, but has to go sit on the pine and comes back and in just over 30 minutes goes for the 42 points. And you can just tell. I'm not saying I was expecting 42 points a night from Payton Pritchard. But I will say that I was expecting more nights like this where the three-pointer is going, where he's just super aggressive, and where he is your second scoring option. And so, especially with the fact that Jaylen Brown has been carrying such a heavy load on the offensive end, it is nice and refreshing that someone else was able to give this team the jolt it so desperately needed, especially when you're shorthanded, 2 starters. Hopefully, we keep saying it after every time they have a good night, but whether it's him or Derek, hopefully this further unlocks them a little bit and lets them play free. We knew this was inside of Pritchard. Everyone can sit here and complain about the role and was he ready for a starter and can he thrive on a night-to-night basis. To me, he's proven he can do this. It just comes down to consistency, which is the whole narrative for the Celtics as a whole. They just need to bring it every single night. And it doesn't have to be 40, but if he's making shots like he was tonight, the Celtics are going to be so much tougher to beat even when the Cavs are making crazy rallies, which was, again, at the finish line, when he's making all those shots, making the free throws, getting the ball across half court, it wasn't just the scoring that made Pritchard vital tonight. And
you mentioned it, too. They didn't have Derek White. They didn't have Neemias Queta, but Jaylen Brown, who has had consecutive games of having 6 straight with 25-plus points tonight, I say the word only very respectfully because he only had 19 points, and yet he still records, Eddie, his 4th career triple-double, 19, 12, and 11. And I really love those. I know you love the assists, but for JB to also feed the hot hand, to recognize that, all right, Payton's the hot shooter. Let me continue to feed him. He impacts winning, not just scoring-wise, but doing the other stuff, too.
Yeah, defensively, we already know what he could bring to the table. He guards some of the best players that are in the league night in and night out. But also, like you said, recognizing who has the hot hand and not trying to get more points than what he needs to get. Okay, you getting it done this way? Well, I'll go get some rebound. Then I'll go pass the ball. I'll get other guys open. I find ways to create W's. You know what I mean? How can I affect winning? And I think that's what he did tonight. He found ways to affect winning without actually having to be a guy that scored 40 points.
I know we got the numbers highlighted that are part of the triple-double, but the ones that are in white are the ones that are important to me. He hasn't been able to get a good whistle all season long. As great as he has been scoring the basketball, the referees have not given him the credit when he's been driving to the basket relentlessly. So on a night where he goes 3 for 13 from the floor, probably his most inefficient game of the season, he's still able to contribute to the scoring because he gets to the line, he drew contact, and he made his free throws. And this is vital. Jaylen is 8th in the NBA, or it might even be up to 7th now, in scoring. But if you just add a few more free throws every night, he's going to be up challenging for, like, I'm not going to say in the league because you know what Shea's doing, but he's going to be in that conversation for a top 5 scorer in the NBA. And it's impressive that he's doing it the way he has. And if the referees start giving this guy the whistle he deserves with how relentless he's been driving the basketball, it'll only further unlock JB's offense.
He should be in that conversation. Go ahead, Eddie.
You know what? And think about this, both of y'all. We watched Payton Pritchard get a foul for hitting somebody ponytail. I won't say ponytail, but the back of his dreads. Mm-hmm. That same guy that got fouled, Payton Pritchard fouled and had to go sit down for, was the same guy that held Jaylen Brown for a layup. So I agree totally with you, Forsberg, that at the end of the day, he got to start getting a better whistle because he is attacking. He is playing with force, and they're not looking at it in that light. I think they're still looking at him as like, I don't know how to say it. Maybe, because I'm not going to say that because that's not the right way to say it. But they're still looking at him like he's not a superstar.
Right.
And he's not a star player. And that's not right now because he has shown everything this year that he should be getting those whistles.
And I don't know what it's going to take to turn. Like, I can't get into the head of an official. Like, does he complain? Yeah, but everybody complains. And the guys who get the most free throws in the NBA are the ones who complain the loudest. And it's like, watch what Luka does when he's, crying every time he gets hit. Like Jaylen gets frustrated and is a little demonstrative at times. But it blows my mind that he has not gotten a better whistle this year. And the other night was, against the Minnesota game. I went back and watched the tape, and I was like, he got hit on every time to the basket. You're not going to get the call every time. But to only get it on 4% of your drives is ridiculous, especially when the other guy on the other team was getting it 26% of the time. So I just want to see the rest of the referees around the league start to respect the fact that, yeah, that's the superstar right now. And the way he's playing, he deserves a better whistle.
And imagine if he just gets to the line even more because of the times he does deserve to, that those numbers will only scream more off the charts. All right, let's get back to Cleveland before they take off to check in with Joe Mazzulla. The coach's press conference is presented by Amica Insurance, the exclusive auto, home, and life insurance partner of the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, he has he puts obviously a ton of pressure on himself, and you just always know in games where he's not the best version of himself, he's going to bounce back quickly. It's a sign of a great player, and he did that, and he got off to a great start, and even with the foul trouble. But you just kind of saw a difference just in his approach, his mindset, and really his aggressiveness, and it was a hell of a game from him.
Things got close there, and then Jaylen found Payton for a couple of baskets. How did Jaylen's ability to see the floor today, set up guys, help you survive the comeback?
Yeah, I mean, triple-double. And to me, it's just having a great balance of understanding when it's, his time versus when it's time to make a play, right? And I think that's been a huge growth of his, not just this year, but I think in the past as well. And that's what you want out of, your best players. And, I think he takes just as much pride in watching someone else close the game as he does in closing it himself. And you kind of saw those plays that he was able to make throughout the game.
And X as well, having 5 minutes the last 10 to be able to come in.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it a lot. Depth has a lot of different definitions, and every game is different. And X is the ultimate professional. Whether he plays, every game or he misses 10 games, I have a level of trust, that he's going to go out there and he's going to execute and he's going to do exactly what we want. And that's really hard to do in this league, and you can't take a guy like that for granted. But he works. He's always ready, and like I said, regardless of how much time goes in between games. I think one of the biggest keys you could have as a player is have a trust, with your staff. And anytime he's in, we trust that, he'll execute. So that was big time by him.
You said that Jaylen takes just as much pride in seeing someone else close out a game. There was a lot of chatter this year about, him going in the number one option and how he would handle that. How have you seen him kind of take on the challenge that this season has presented?
Yeah.
And not necessarily... I know you said it's not really a changing role, but obviously.
I mean, he just doesn't care about that. He just doesn't care about that. It's never been. He cares about winning and really the process, of how we go about doing it. And I think he has a great understanding of that. He's never gotten caught up in a narrative like that. He just has what gives us the best chance to win. Are we doing that on both ends of the floor? And how can he impact winning there? So I think that says a lot about him to not get caught up in that. And tonight's a perfect example of that.
You guys had a sloppy first half, a bunch of turnovers. What allowed you, without Derek and without Nimi, to kind of overcome that?
I don't even know if there were turnovers. There was like 50. There was like we couldn't catch for a little while, and it was weird. I thought we fumbled a couple balls out of bounds, had a couple rebounds, and it was just kind of, So to me, the point was we were playing with a level of effort and a level of connectivity. We just had to execute a little bit better. And I think second night of a back-to-back, couple guys out. That's what you care about most is the effort and the level of connectivity that you have, and I think the other stuff comes throughout the game.
Were you pleased with the execution?
All right, Joe Mazzulla there after the Celtics go on to win this thing. Time now for the Ford Tough Play of the game presented by Ford Trucks, the best-selling trucks for 48 years. Built Ford Tough. How about that? Little Jordan Walsh offensive rebound in the third quarter with the putback. He finishes with a double-double after going scoreless. Just last night? Was it last night that they played? I can't even remember. Well, I made a point that he needed to put some
She was
points
pretty mean, Eddie. She was mean.
I wasn't mean. I was not mean. I was saying anyone who was in the starting lineup, and I think Jordan Walsh, he's been amazing defensively. You saw him all over the glass here tonight. But to really, I would love to think, he got the message and listened into Celtics postgame plus us, but he was definitely not. But for him to do,
he got the vibes of Kayla saying, "Hey, we need more from you."
Exactly, and he did. 14 points, 11 boards. He was just all over the glass. I personally loved what I saw from Walsh here tonight.
Chris, what were you asking for? You said, who's going to show up with the stocks?
Yeah, that's my guy.
Right? And he came up with the stocks. He had 2 steals, 1 block, but then the 11 rebounds, just being active, playing for your NBA life changes. You know what I mean? It changes the way you go out there every single night. When you know that you're going to get certain minutes and you could get certain shots and everything like that, you could go out there and be a little relaxed and things like that. But when you are playing for your NBA life, and trust me, I know what that feels like. Every single second, every single possession matters. And I think that Jordan Walsh went out there and showed that. And maybe he's not playing for his NBA life, but he's also playing to stay around in the NBA and be a big factor and show that he can be a factor on a team that gives him that opportunity.
The 6 offensive rebounds were great, getting you extra possessions, just keeping balls alive, especially when the offense needed it. My favorite play, though, was when he just goes up to DeAndre Hunter and rips the ball away, like the most grown man steal of the entire game. It's like, nope, that is mine. I'm going to take that, and then a foul going up with it. I love when he does that. It's just that's when you know you are a menacing defender and imposing your will on the game. He just literally just ripped the ball away from them. The Celtics needed plays like that. As Eddie said, when you don't have a Derek White and Nimi Ishiketa out there, you need to find a way to generate stocks. And for him to give you that boost was great. Career highs on both rebounds and points. This is a little bit of what Jordan Walsh can give you, but beyond just the individual defense and how good he's been matching up, and took on the challenge of Donovan Mitchell out of the gates. Spent time on a bunch of different wing guys. But I love what Jordan Walsh is doing. Last night was a dud, really his only dud in the 8. I think it's 8 starts now, and so he's been bringing it, especially when Kayla comes on postgame live and calls him out.
He answered the call.
I will not stand for this.
He answered the call. You know what? Joe Mazzulla making a lot of football references just last night. Jordan Walsh on that play, he broke through the tackle. I may have him at RB1 because that was impressive. So many different guys to give awards out here tonight.
Scout cannot deprive the man any longer.
Scout. Here's him with the Tommy Award.
All right, Scal, huge win for the Celtics. Night 2 of a back-to-back, barely beating the Cavs. Who's getting the Tommy Award?
Oh, you guys know when you get a triple-double? I'm just kidding. It's finally going to Jordan Walsh. Yes, everybody just calm down. All Celtic Nation, just calm down. Jordan Walsh, he earned the Tommy Award today. That's right. He was in the right location. He was guarding, got after it, hitting the floor. I love this play right here. Give me those cookies. I'm going to the cup. Jordan Walsh was excellent. We need more of this from Jordan Walsh. And when he does, I will give him more Tommy Awards.
Is that his first one of the year?
That's his first one, and I've been getting killed, man.
That's a bogus, baby. No, he's earned one.
I've been getting fried on social media. So for all you guys out there, Jordan Walsh.
Didn't give Scal a choice today. Jordan Walsh with the double-double. We'll talk to you at home Tuesday against New York.
There it is, Chris.
What a day for Scal.
I know. Scal is like
Pritchard, big game, and then finally, Jordan Walsh should be leading the Tommy Award leaderboard.
Amen. And he almost gave it to JB, and then, Payton Pritchard, he argued his case with 42 points here tonight. But Jordan Walsh, you get the Tommy Award, your first one, and I can bet it won't be your last. When we come back, we're going to talk.
With Cal, it might be.
No, it can't be. Social media will go nuts. When we come back, we're going to talk about another big man who made his first start here on the season. We're talking X after the break. Now for the dunk and dunk of the game, it's all about the dunk. Donovan Mitchell getting to the hoop. Boom.
Yeah.
He had 18 points, 7 of 16. Was not all that. He wasn't himself, I guess, against what we've seen in the past. He was on that one. But what we've seen in the past against the Celtics. But look, Celtics take care of business. 2-0 against the Cavs. They have one more in March. But who they have next? The New York Knicks. And they have won 4 straight. These guys, I know everyone is familiar. They're 13-6. They beat the Raptors, Chris, today. Brunson Cat had a good game. I look at the matchup and I'm like, okay, who knows if Nemish Keita is going to be back. But even if he isn't, you saw guys like X, you saw some of these big guys step up. But what is it going to take to now take this win, move on to the Knicks, and handle business here?
Yeah, look, the Knicks have been good at home, not so great on the road. Celtics found that out in the second game of the year. And we'll find out what the Celtics can. They bottle up a lot of what they've done well. It would help to have Kate out there, someone else to jealous with Karl Anthony Towns and all the size on that roster. But it always seems to come down to Brunson and how can you contain him. He had a big night that second game of the year. So interested to see how the Celtics, match up. They'll be a little bit different. Early in the year, they're still kind of trying to figure out that starting lineup. Feels like they've locked in a little bit more with how good Walsh has been. But it just feels like, all right, Cavs are going through it a little bit, but you've now shown twice in these 2 meetings this season that you can play with one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. And all their injury issues aside, can you do it with the Knicks too? Where, again, the Knicks have been very good in this stretch with the 4 straight wins. Celtics got to show that they are on that level and that regardless of who is available, they can compete.
All right, they're going to have to do it. And the Celtics, they're going to be back in action Tuesday against New York. Our coverage begins at 7 with Celtics pregame live, brought to you by TD Bank. And you know the drill. Stay with us for the game for highlights and player and coach reaction on Celtics postgame live, presented by your New England Ford dealers. And remember, you can stream all of our coverage on the NBC Sports app and NBCSportsBoston.com. The Celtics live stream is brought to you by your New England Cadillac dealers, the official luxury vehicle of the Boston Celtics. Handle business here today.
Little
triple-double. Came down to it. Payton Pritchard, 1 shy of a career high, 42 points. I mean,
we should just expect this. Every time we think the Celtics are going to have a tough night with the
against one of the against top teams.
Starters, what do?
Yeah,
they find a way.
Fine. It takes dives. I love this. Go listen to the podcast because Chris is going to say some great stuff. It's a happy pod.
And you got to apologize to Jordan Wall.
I sure will. I'll make the call right now.